All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're plugging in and turning up the volume on one of America's most powerful and, frankly, coolest musical exports, Southern blues rock. It's a sound that was born from this amazing crossroads of American music. And in this explainer, we're going to break down the legendary bands that built its absolutely electrifying legacy. So, what is Southern blues rock, really? Well, at its heart, it's this incredible recipe. You've got the raw, gut punch emotion of Delta blues. You add in the scorching heat of a Texas guitar, and you mix that with the pure, heartfelt expression of Southern soul. But the real kicker, the thing that fuels it all, it's this constant push and pull between honoring tradition and this deep-seated need for rebellion. It's one thing to describe it, but it's a whole other thing to feel it. So that really gets to the big questions, right? What does this legacy actually sound like? And who were the absolute titans that took all these ingredients and forged a whole new genre? Well, that's exactly what we're here to get into. So here's our roadmap. We're going to start by really defining the sound by looking at its key architects. Then we'll explore all the different regional flavors, because it's not all the same. We'll see who's carrying the torch today, and then we'll wrap it all up with why this legacy is still so powerful. Okay, first up, the architects. These are the bands that didn't just play the music. They literally wrote the blueprint. They laid down the two foundational pillars that just about everything else in the genre would be built on. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because you can see the two different paths that define the genre right from the get-go. On one side, you've got the Allman Brothers Band. They were all about these sprawling, jazz-influenced jams, a sound that was all about freedom and just seeing where the music would take them. And then you've got Lynyrd Skynyrd, way more direct, with this tough, street-level attitude and just pure, massive guitar firepower. The Allman Brothers, man, they were all about that exploration. Their sound, which was just perfectly captured on that legendary Live at Fillmore East album, was this masterclass in taking Delta blues and weaving in jazz improvisation. Those dueling guitars of Duane Allman and Dickie Betts, they were like these long, soaring musical conversations that nobody had ever really heard in rock music before. And then, there was Skynyrd. They took the exact same blues roots, but just cranked them up with a totally different kind of energy. Theirs was a sound forged with these hard-edged riffs, that unmistakable outlaw attitude, and a three-guitar assault that was just confrontational and so powerful. So you see the difference. One band was exploring the cosmos, and the other one was kicking down the front door. Okay, so let's move on and see how this whole thing started to spread. This genre wasn't just one single thing. It had all these distinct regional flavors. Depending on where a band was from, Texas, South Carolina, wherever, the sound took on these really unique characteristics. Geography literally shaped the music. And this just lays it out so perfectly. Look at Texas alone. You get ZZ Top's super streamlined boogie coming out of Houston, and then Johnny Winter's raw, high-voltage blues from Beaumont. Then you head over to South Carolina, and you've got the Marshall Tucker Band, who brought this more soulful, almost melodic feel with instruments like a flute and a pedal steel. See? Every region added its own spice to the mix. And ZZ Top is just the perfect example of this kind of evolution. They started out in the early 70s, just boiling Southern blues rock down to its rawest, most essential parts. By the end of the decade, they were a full-blown arena rock powerhouse. And then in the 80s, they brilliantly jumped on MTV and took their Texas boogie to a global audience. It just goes to show how adaptable this music could be. Which brings us to the modern era. Because make no mistake, Southern blues rock is not some museum piece. A whole new generation of bands has been carrying that torch forward, proving that this is a living, breathing tradition that is still evolving. Just look at this. It's an unbroken chain. Just as that first wave was kind of cresting, the Black Crowes show up in the 80s to bring back that old school feel. Then in the 90s, you get Gov Mule picking up that improvisational torch, and the North Mississippi All-Stars digging even deeper into the roots. And today, you have bands like Blackberry Smoke pushing it forward. Every single decade has its standard bearers. Gov Mule is pretty much the direct spiritual successor to the Allman Brothers' whole improvisational spirit. They were formed by Warren Haynes and Alan Woody from the Allmans, so their sound is all about exploration. Their marathon live shows are absolutely legendary, fusing everything from Delta blues to psychedelic rock into these mind-blowing extended jams. And the Black Crowes, they were so important for bringing the genre back in the 90s. They took all the classic ingredients, that gritty blues, the soulful gospel harmonies, and just injected them with this swagger and attitude that was completely modern. And in doing that, they proved that the classic sound could feel fresh and totally relevant, and they put Southern rock right back onto the mainstream charts. I absolutely love this quote because it just perfectly nails what the North Mississippi All-Stars are all about. They connect directly back to the deepest hill country blues traditions, but they don't treat it like some relic in a museum. For them, it is a living, breathing force, something that you can push and prod and evolve, all while staying true to where it came from. And that brings us right up to a band like Blackberry Smoke. They really are that vital link between the genre's past and its future. They speak Southern blues rock like it's a living language, you know? They expertly blend groove and melody and authentic storytelling and have totally established themselves as a band of our time. So after looking at the architects, the different regions, and the modern torchbearers, we kind of land here. What is the enduring legacy of all this music? And why does it still feel so vital and important today? What's really amazing is this unbroken thread that connects all of these bands across more than 50 years. And that thread is woven from four key things: the raw grit of the Delta, the heartfelt expression of soul, the sheer awesome power of amplification, and this relentless, unstoppable drive for innovation. And really, that's why this genre endures. It's a living tradition. It's not about perfectly recreating what happened in the past. It's all about having an attitude that respects where the music came from, but is never, ever afraid to push against those boundaries and just see what happens next. From the Allman Brothers all the way to Blackberry Smoke, every generation has plugged in, turned up, and poured their sweat and soul into making music that forges new ground. It's this powerful, unbroken chain of innovation. Which, of course, leaves us with one final very exciting question. Who's going to be the one to plug in next?